Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, welcome to another market open stream. And it looks like we're going to have another green market. All three indexes are in the green. Bitcoin is in the green. Crypto overall is in the green. So today's looking pretty darn good. But we do have some big news. I want to talk about Russia. I want to talk about Apple. I want to talk about EV cars and this one bill let's just talk about it. This one bill that may change things in Congress, but maybe not because there are some loopholes still. So, welcome. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. If you are new, follow me on social media and check out all the latest news, updates, and guides at CryptosRUs.com. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Look at this. Green. In fact, I was looking at this. The markets have been green for basically like 3 weeks now. At least for equities. Ever since its fall from December to January, since the end of January to now, pretty much all greens. And when it comes to crypto, look at this. All greens right now. So today is shaping up to be a pretty good day. So it's looking like it's a pretty good day all around, right? So we have about 10 minutes before market opens. Let's see what happens. Are we go get explosion? Maybe. And here's the thing. I think this is the biggest surprise. Tomorrow is when the CPI number comes out for the US that measures inflation, right? It will be a very, very telling story because Fed Chair Powell already said he's going to wait and see how conditions are, how the environment is, not environment, economic environment is, okay? In terms of labor force, in terms of numbers, job numbers, right? Some earnings reports, even though he says he doesn't care about price of the stock market, but still, earning reports from the companies matter because they do give it insight into how the labor force is, and how supply chain is, inflation, all that stuff, right? So it's really surprising because everyone, like you have Fed from all over the place, like Fed from New York and Philadelphia and wherever, they're all trying to guess what Fed Chair Powell is going to do, right? So there's talks about 3 rate hikes this year, 4, and now I'm hearing from others that it could be like 5 or 6. So people are preparing for a very hawkish, I guess, raise from Powell. And tomorrow's CPI number will make a big difference, okay, in terms of measuring if inflation is kind of tapering out or inflation is still on the uprise. So it's really surprising that leading up to this such a big event that the markets are rallying, right? So in a way, this is a surprise, which is why people, unfortunately, sold out, a few weeks ago. They're paying the price because now you're seeing a huge market recovery with everything, with Bitcoin, with crypto, with NASDAQ, with tech, with everything's, coming back, right? It almost makes me think that people already kind of know that whatever comes out tomorrow and whatever Fed Powell does is already priced in the market and we were just too oversold, right? That's what it seems like. That's what it seems like. So tomorrow will be a very interesting day. Very interesting day. The markets have been green for a while now. Will it continue? I guess we'll just have to see. We'll have to see. All right, there's a couple interesting things I want to talk about today. And, the first one relates to Yum Brands. And if you're in the U.S., you may not have heard of Yum Brands, but they control some of the biggest franchises, food franchises out there, including Taco Bell, KFC, Pizza Hut, 3 of the most unhealthiest franchises out there. Okay, but they're all under Yum Brands, right? So I saw something that's interesting. Basically, across the restaurant industry operators have been dealing with higher food costs, higher freight costs, and higher labor costs. So, restaurants have it really bad right now, okay? And I've known friends that ran restaurants, it is not easy. Running a successful restaurant is very hard. But I can't imagine how hard it is right now. First of all, food costs is up due to inflation. And those of you guys that do your own shopping or buy your own food, you'll know that food costs have gone up significantly within the last 2 years, which sucks. Freight cost is through the roof. Okay, I've been seeing numbers how a container, a 16-wheel container used to cost about $2,000 to get overseas. Now it's costing $20,000. So it went up 10x. So that sucks, right? And obviously that's due to manpower or shortage of manpower, I guess, and labor costs. And of course, people that are working now are expected to get like a 20 or 30 or 50% bump from their previous pay, right? So, I mean, if you add all three, unless you're a big giant like Yum Foods, and you have billions of revenue and you have a lot of, what do you call it? What do you call it when you have that advantage, when you have the economies of scale, right? It is virtually impossible to run a restaurant right now. And that is why you see so many restaurants close left and right. Like, it is literally impossible. But even Yum Foods, they missed their earnings because of it, right? So, I mean, just shows you the landscape of what we're going through right now is very, very, very hard on business. I think a lot of people just focus solely on individuals, right? But if you're looking at small businesses as a whole, and many of them are restaurants, it is just the absolute worst time right now for all of them. So just want to throw that out there. All right, what else is there? Well, let's jump into some Russia news. So Russia was very anti-crypto back in the day. Okay, kind of like the same stance of China, where they wanted nothing to do with Bitcoin, nothing to do with crypto. Recently, there were news about how Russia was kicking out all the miners and so forth, right? But in a surprise move, the Russian government and the Russian central bank have agreed to draft legislation to recognize crypto as a form of currency. So that's enormous, okay? This is kind of like, say one thing but do another. That's exactly what's going on. I would not be surprised if Putin and Russia is actually accumulating Bitcoin behind the scenes. So when Putin says, yes, go make it happen, it happens. And he has been saying, go draft a legislation to make Bitcoin recognized as currency. And that's exactly what's happening, right? So this whole thing about kicking out the miners, I don't know, if I believe in those reports. And soon, people in Russia will be able to buy, hold, and trade crypto. That's pretty big. That's very, very, very big. And what's going on right now between, the Ukraine and Russia and the US, right? That's also helping Ukraine because, when you want to get money into a country or into a person's wallet, there's no easier way than Bitcoin because you don't have to get approval. You don't have to get permission. All you need is their wallet address and you get to send your crypto over instantaneously, right? And that is why a lot of Bitcoin donations are actually pouring into Ukraine to help support them during this crisis, right? So that is also very positive for Bitcoin. Both of these news could relate to why Bitcoin is starting to come back up, right? I mean, those of us that live in a really, in a country that we don't really have to worry about war or economic instability, we're lucky, right? But many around the world do, and that's where Bitcoin really shines. We just don't see it. Like right now, most of us, I think, are holding Bitcoin because we're just holding it to make gains, right? To make money. But some actually could really use it. Especially when, if you're in a place where your fiat currency is devaluing itself like every single day. Well, we have that in the U.S. too. But if you're in country like Turkey or Argentina and your money literally is going to zero, right? What can you do, right? You have to buy something that goes against it, right? Like Bitcoin. And the same thing. If all the banks and ATMs are closed and there's no Western Union, how are you going to get money from your relatives or as support, right? You could do so with Bitcoin. I mean, there's many good reasons with Bitcoin that, most of us don't think of, but yeah, big reasons why Bitcoin is here to stay. All right, with that said, market's about to open right now. Are we in the green? Yes, well, this hasn't updated yet, but we're about to open. Pretty much we're going to be in the green. NASDAQ is starting to lead the way. I don't know if you guys noticed, but NASDAQ has been the weakest index for the last few months, but within the last few weeks, it has been the strongest index, because this is the argument I made a few weeks ago when all the Wall Street traders and hedge funds, they were dumping tech, because they wanted to get off of on-risk assets or risk-on assets and get on to risk-off assets. I'm like, man, I know that's the playbook, but it makes no sense at all. It makes no sense at all, because they're dumping some of the biggest tech companies on earth, right? Including the likes of Tesla, Apple, Microsoft, right? And they're just reporting spectacular earnings. Their numbers couldn't be better, yet they were being dumped. An entire index was being dragged down because of it, right? It just didn't make any sense, and now they're all coming back in, right? So Wall Street is very reactional, They react to what they think will come, right? And it's okay if you're holding billions and billions and billions of dollars, right? If you want to protect your clients' money and their own money, their funds, it's okay. But, for us, for investors, general investors, you don't want to make irrational trades. You don't want to make irrational moves. You want to trade or hold, I should say, like a robot. Okay, you want to do the smart thing and realize that long term is the best way to go and not short term. So right now, Bitcoin is still at 44.1. I have Tesla pulled up here because my next segment is about Tesla. I do want to talk about them, and they're up about 1.84%. So that's not bad. If you let's go to the entire market. NASDAQ 100 is up about a 1.21%. And MicroStrategy is barely up. MicroStrategy fell as low as 310. 310. They were slaughtered, okay, even more so than Bitcoin. And that was only 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago. 310, and now they're at 428. That's almost a 50% jump. So think about that, right? So a lot of the stocks related to crypto were just simply hammered. But now they're all coming back, so that's good. All right. So next, let me talk about Tesla real quick. I know a lot of you guys are Tesla. JP, thank you. I did see that. I don't think I really compete with Kevin all that much, but I did see that video he put out today about how he's not going to do market opens anymore. I don't know. Quick note about Kevin. I think he's kind of losing it. When he turned off his comments and then he said that he couldn't take the bad comments and he turned them back on, I could tell he was filtering out all the bad comments because they were all good. But recently he stopped doing that and the comments turned really bad again. And I think it's just getting to him. So that's why I think he's not doing market opens anymore or market closes. I don't know if he's going to do any videos anymore. I mean, in fact, he's so wealthy he doesn't really need to do anything, right? But if he still enjoys it, he should continue to do it. But it seems like the trolls and the negative hate towards him, which he wasn't used to, is now really getting into him. So I really wish Kevin the best. I have the most respect for Kevin. In fact, I think I mimic a lot of the stuff that he does because I know it works. So I hope he continues on, but I did see that video about how he's not going to do open streams anymore. Anyways, moving on. So I didn't want to talk about Tesla because of this. I saw this headline this morning. Nissan executive says European emission rules will make combustion engines unviable, okay? And they're not the only one. So there's very strict emission rules coming out in Europe, basically forcing all manufacturers to stop ICE cars, okay? And this is coming. This is coming. One of my best friends, who is a big Tesla nut, he's like, just wait until 2025. The world will change because everyone will be driving an EV car by 2025. I'm like, no, I don't agree with that, because there's still going to be a lot of used cars, and there's still going to be markets for ICE cars, okay? Because simply it's just, I don't know, like, especially when it comes to sports cars, it's just more enjoyable to drive an ICE car. EV cars is like driving a robot. So, but, you know, they're not the only ones. Nissan, you know, just announced this today. Hyundai already announced this like several weeks ago, where they're stopping all ICE development. They're not going to produce any more new engines. Everything they're going with is EV now, right? So Nissan is doing it. Hyundai is doing it. You have luxury giant Mercedes that is doing it too. They already announced it. We're stopping development in an ICE platform come 2025, right? And if you think about 2025 is really soon. That's only 3 years. I can't imagine, you know, for manufacturers to move to EV engine, to EV fully and electric engine, which that's fine. That's fine. What about the infrastructure? Okay? Can the electrical grids around the world, first of all, support every single car charging at night, right? That's number one. I don't know. I don't know if it can. And number two is, what about charging stations? In the US, Tesla supercharger stations dominate, but even with that domination, there's many places you go in the US, there's just no chargers. None. There's a lot of travel destinations, like rural areas, that there's just no charging stations. So what do you go do, right? And imagine if every single brand moves towards EV. Where is everyone going to charge? You know, 3 years, I could see how the manufacturers all move to EV, but what about global infrastructure, right? Like, are we really going to be able to build out that many supercharger stations or charging stations? And can all electrical grids get, you know, upgraded to handle all this charging? I don't know. But that does show how smart Elon was to decide to build out the supercharger stations, right? Realizing that, yes, to be able to convert people to move to EV, you have to give them the ability to be able to charge everywhere they go, right? So the Tesla supercharger station in the US and arguably in Europe too, is the biggest in the world, and it's growing by leaps and bounds. Even though there's videos about, you know, sometimes you have to wait like 30 minutes before you could charge, but it is still so much better than everyone else, right? So from a growth perspective, from now to 2025 and beyond, I just don't see how anyone can compete just from the infrastructure perspective. And let's not forget battery production, right? Battery production, you know, Tesla has the biggest battery production factory in the world, right? They produce 50% of the lithium batteries. 50%. 50% of the world's supply is produced by Tesla. And guess where most of that is going to? Into their own cars. Is Tesla selling that to Mercedes or Hyundai or Nissan? No. So where are they going to get the batteries from, right? So, you know, if you just put it all together, in the next 3 to 5 years, all these other manufacturers are going to be in a really bad place. And the one company I think in the EV space that will be in a really good place is Tesla. So, you know, I just want to mention that. I'm not the biggest Tesla fan. You know, I'm not a typical fanboy, because I do think Tesla messes many things up, and I don't like their cars all that much, even though I do own a Model S Plaid. But like I said, it's a very boring car. It's like driving a robot that's really fast. I mean, that's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like driving a sports car. So there are a lot of limitations, but from a practical standpoint, from an investment standpoint, you know, I don't think there's anything better than Tesla when it comes to EV space. There's just nothing. You know, and like Ford is doing a tremendous amount to beef up their EV offerings. The Ford Lightning is about to come out, right? What is? I'm just gonna bring up Ford real quick. They got killed. They got killed after the quarterly reset. They are, man, from their peak. I don't even know how much they're down. Somewhere like here. They're like down 30% from their peak. Yeah, somewhere. It's actually a little bit more than that. It's over here. Yeah, like 33, 34%. Right? So someone like Ford is trying to play catch up, right? And they're coming out with the Lightning, which is very hyped up. They have the Mach-E already, which is a decent SUV. I've reviewed that before. And they already have some kind of, well, they used to have some kind of plug-in hybrid. I don't know if it exists anymore, right? So they're trying to convert. But again, it comes down to charging. Like, where you go charge all these cars? That's the problem. Ford relies on these third-party charging stations, and they're not very good, and there's not very many of them. So, like, where you go charge? The only place is at home. Well, that means then you can't go on vacations or travel with your EV car, right? And let's not forget, EVs suck in the cold weather. Your range goes down so much. So, but got off track. But I just want to share that. But something that is very relevant, especially if you're in NFTs, is this. I've made mention this yesterday, and a lot of people, commented afterwards and told me, George, I never thought about it this way, because everyone thinks that NFTs can only be used to sell pictures. Okay, that's not the case. NFTs is just like a binding contract. You could do so many things with it. And that binding contract could record pretty much anything you want. So Alfa Romeo is coming out the SUV where you could track officially all the service that you do on this car. So basically any kind of routine maintenance, any fixes, any repairs, anything that breaks down, anything, mileage, all could be stored on an NFT. So the next owner can get that and verify that it's all true, right? You're not dependent on a third party to track all this, so you don't know if that's accurate or if they included everything, right? You could do this with an NFT. So this is, I think it's really good for cars, right? And you could do so many things in terms of basically tracking everything within a car. And then as the next owner, if you're buying a used car, you know exactly what you're getting involved with, right? So that shows you another use case for NFTs, which is really good. It's really good. And it's just a tip of the iceberg in terms of what you could do with NFTs. Darren, sorry, I didn't look at a lot of the super chats here. I'm jealous of Tesla owners overcome. Don't be jealous. Though Tesla, one thing I don't like is that the FSD upgrade keeps getting bumped up. It's now 12,000. When I got it, it was 10,000. Shortly before, it was 8,000. So as a new Tesla owner, it sucks. But as an existing owner, it's awesome, because if you already have FSD on your car, in a way, your car is getting bumped up. It's appreciating. It's actually not depreciating. So I had a Model Y before I got the Model S, so I sold it to my friend. I got that car for around $60,000, and I sold it to him about $58,000. So I took a slight hit, although I created videos and made that back. So I broke even with that. But now, if you get a Model Y configured the same way, it's like $66,000. Because of the increase in FSD, the price of the car has gone up. So my friend actually he made money by buying it from me. So, I mean, in a way, it does help Tesla owners. Duran says, I have a Model 3 without a charger at home because there's supercharger 1.5 miles away. Any direction I drive in California, I will reach another one. I like other cars, but Tesla is a bargain. I think you're in a different situation because you're in California. And I know there's charging stations left and right in California. But drive to Montana, okay, and tell me the same thing. Drive to Utah. Drive to anywhere that's not California. And then you'll notice that it's not as plentiful, right? Even where I am, there's charging stations about every 15, 20 minutes away. But I've taken vacations where I've ventured out of the city into popular travel destinations, and there's not one supercharger station by it. I have to take like a 30-minute detour to get to it and then go. So honestly, that's why I don't take my Tesla when I go on road trips, because I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to plan that out. I just want to find a gas station and go. So that's the thing. All right. So lastly, two other things before I let you guys go. Number one is Apple. Apple is opening up tap to pay on their iPhones, which means if you're a merchant, you can simply have your iPhone out, and as a consumer, you could tap and pay. What's interesting about this announcement is they said that this will be used for Apple Pay, contactless credit and debit cards, and other digital wallets. What does other digital wallets mean? Well, we know digital wallets store crypto, right? So does that mean Apple is going to allow merchants to accept crypto pretty soon utilizing tap to pay? Maybe. It's been highly rumored that they will introduce crypto payments because they had a job opening for this. They had a job opening for this very thing about getting involved with digital wallets, right? What is a digital wallet? I mean, the only digital wallets that exist is crypto digital wallets right now. So this could be absolutely huge. This could be announced. They didn't say crypto wallets. They're saying digital wallets. But sooner or later, we're going to get Apple fully embracing crypto as a payment solution, as they should, because PayPal already does it. PayPal already allows merchants to accept crypto. They allow clients and consumers to buy crypto and spend crypto. And if Apple Pay wants to compete with PayPal, then they have to do the same thing, right? So this is pretty big too. This is pretty big. Now, of course, you can just have a credit card, right, that is pulling from your crypto account. You could do that, or you could get a credit card like a BlockFi credit card where you get rewarded in Bitcoin, right? So if you don't want to spend your crypto and you want to earn crypto, then get something like this, okay? So you do have alternatives these days. You don't have to rely on Apple Pay or PayPal to spend, right? Or to earn. There's a lot of options these days. So very different, very different. All right, lastly, let's look at the market. You know, what is the market at? I think it's still all greens right now. Yep, Nasdaq's up 1.23, Dow's 0.81, S&P. Things are looking good. The last thing I want to talk about real quick is this, okay? Nancy Pelosi and her new bill. It's not just hers, but she is introducing a bill to stop stock trading for Congress people, which makes a whole lot of sense. You know what infuriates me is that it seems like once you're an elected official and you're a congressperson, somehow you just become ultra rich. I don't know how that's possible. I know how that's possible. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But it seems like all of them have gotten super rich after becoming a congressperson. So it doesn't make it's not fair, let's just put that. It makes sense because they have all the inside information and then they trade against that information. So of course they all become super wealthy and probably they're handed a lot of things under the table too. But Nancy Pelosi is trying to push this stock trading ban among Congress people, right? To make it fair. And I think AOC, she's doing it too, and others are pushing this. And I just happened to see this interview with Senator Steve Daines, who is a Republican. So this is a bipartisan bill. Both sides are trying to push this through to ban Congress members from owning stocks. But here's the thing. He was just on CNBC before I started streaming. And he was asked some hard questions. So first of all, does this mean, if approved, does this mean that the spouse of the congressperson is prohibited from trading stocks? The answer is yes. You're going to get rid of the spouse. So the spouse is trading privileges too. But then they pushed forward. What about the kids of the congresspeople, the dependents of the congresspeople? And they said no. So there's a loophole there. Even if this is passed through, you can get your kids to trade. And it doesn't make sense because Senator Daines was asked, if they're dependent on you, that means they're using your money to survive. And if they're trading, essentially that's using your money to trade, right? And then he danced over this question. He didn't answer it. So that didn't make sense. And then he said the staff members, his staff members are still allowed to trade. Yeah, you know his staff members are privileged. Well, you know, they're privileged to a lot of information that he or she is privileged. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense that they get to trade either, right? And then his counter to that is, well, we want to attract the top talent. You know, we want to make sure that we don't I guess, you know, with this new rule, we don't want to get talent that, you know, that doesn't want to join us because they can't trade stocks, right? But, you know, so there's loopholes. I guess my point is there's loopholes. So even though at face value, if this gets passed through, it's great. It's a step in the right direction, right? So Congress people and their spouses cannot trade. So they can't use the privileged information they have, you know, to load up on stocks before something breaks or a new law gets passed. But they can still use their children's account and their staff can still trade. So their staff will just get more wealthy. So just to throw that out there. All right. I think that's pretty much it. Overall, you know what? Bitcoin and the entire crypto market is doing fantastic. Everything is in green. Everything is green. And you know what? In terms of stocks, you know, pretty green all around. If you're looking at like someone like Facebook, which has been decimated recently, they're finally up in the green. But I did want to show you guys this. Ooh, that's the biggest steep drop off for big tech I've ever seen. But Facebook is not one I would be putting my money into. I don't know what they're going to do for the future. But anyways, avoid Meta or Facebook. But there's many others that's coming aboard. Crypto-related stocks, mining stocks, Coinbase, right? Tesla. There's a lot. There's a lot out there. Okay. I'll let you guys go. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in a couple hours. 11:45 a.m. Central Standard Time, and I'll talk more about crypto. All right. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.